I've been back there since I was legit. Represent, that's legit. Action man back. Coldest story ever told. The story hit my home. I was out there on the road. I ain't know where to go. They used to turn their nose and then they done suppose this the life I chose. Everything man, this is shown.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening. Hey, it's Authentic Hears. We are back again for episode 3. Y'all, I was jamming when it first came on because check this out. My little cousin wrote that, and he be talking some ask your mom about it. Because sometimes you got to go ask your mama for a little bit of advice here now and then. But you can always call and ask Authentic Ears. You could drop us a DM. You could hit us up. We know a little bit of something about something. It is what it is. But I love it. I need him to, I want him to do another one for us. You know what I'm saying? Just really go all the way in. He's working on it. He's priced deployed. He's out there in the Atlanta area. So hit him up if y'all want to. Hey, how y'all doing today?
It's Monday.
Is it Monday fun day or something? Because we know Sunday is normally fun day, but you like it's Monday. You dry today?
And Monday is a chill day. It's definitely a chill day. So
Yeah. My Monday, I don't know. I was up this morning. You know what I'm saying? Hey Joyce. I was up this morning at 2 o'clock, harassing somebody. So look, hold on, Cam, you got something to say? I think you seen the picture and you was like, hey girl.
That's
it's showing the ladies love. That's all. You know how it is, niece. Baby, what it do? I see you.
Look, Cam got look, it stopped him in his track. He wasn't even saying nothing. He was like, okay, we got Caramel up here. Hey, you guys. Hey,
Star, what's going on? She's starring out of the ATL. That's my home girl.
Look, another Monday, Joyce. Hey, Cam, what you been up to? I know that I was up texting you early in the morning.
Yeah, well, I was up, been up since about 2 this morning. I was up on TikTok, couldn't sleep. Me and you was texting back and forth. But you know what? Like I actually got up and I ate a bowl of cereal and I laid back down, right? And man, I dozed off and opened my eyes up. It was 7 in the morning.
What did you ever work out like you said?
All right, man, I ain't look at a weight this morning. I ain't gonna even
Cause I was like, oh shoot, Cam, I need to be trying to go back to sleep. And you was like, well, I'm finna get up and hit the gym. What you do? Did you do one of them eyelid shuts and I'm just gonna blink my eyes? I'm just for a little bit and then I'm gonna go hit the weights.
No, yeah, man. I thought I was just okay. I'm getting a little sleepy, just doze off. And man, about 4 hours later, I'm open my eyes and I can see the light coming through the blind.
Look at that. That's what that is.
Look, I need to be like you when I grow up. Give me a job where I ain't gotta, clock in. But it's all good though. I ain't gonna complain about this little job over there because that's all it is to me. It's a little job. But since I done retired from the military, hold on. I ain't officially retired yet. 31 October is my big day, so I'm gonna be turned up like that whole week right there because I'm gonna be done made it. But now, we come in, Cam, we get there 10 minutes prior to the 10 minutes prior. So I discovered that I'm only getting paid for 8 to 5. It'd be 8 o'clock when my big toe step in the door. My big toe, I ain't even gonna put my toe in there until it's 8 o'clock. Hey, but recap. Last couple of weeks we've been talking about, a lot of different stuff. We talked about cheating, we talked about blurred lines, and a lot of us have went through a lot of those or experienced those or been either on either side, especially with cheating, being a cheater, getting cheated on, accepting things that we normally would not accept over time, and then blurred lines, just being confused about who we are, who we want to be, who we think society thinks that we should be. So, just a quick recap. What do y'all think about those last two topics before we get right into the next one?
You can go ahead and go, Cam.
Oh, we being modest today.
Well, the first one, cheating is just one of them things. It ain't too many of us in life that has went through and ain't had either been on a lot of people don't like to be real about what they got going on. But me, like I said, I'm not like ashamed. Well, I ain't gonna say I'm not ashamed, but I ain't gonna be a slave to my mistakes in the past. And I know I've been on both sides, you know, and you don't really get a fully understanding of it until that person you love run you through the muck. You know what I'm saying? Then you realize, man, well, maybe I need to reevaluate my decision-making process, you know what I'm saying, in reference to it. And then in reference to the blurs line topic, as usual, I'm all over the place, can't stay on script, you know what I'm saying? But, that's what I do when we authentic, you know what I'm saying? So, we hit a lot of different areas and stuff like that, but, it was cool.
Okay. Jazz, what you
Same
think?
thing. Like I piggyback off what Cam said, just, we've all, to be honest, most of us have all been on both sides of the cheating spectrum, and then those blurred lines, and it just boils down into the self-love, the self-worth that we have for ourselves. It basically determines the cheating and the blurred lines. So yeah, I that's what I think about it. I mean, I think it was great. I like last episode. Everybody contribute. That was fun. I like Cam because Cam he think he be getting off script, but Cam throws in that flair, that little spice that you need. But those are the moments, those are the things that we need though, because those questions and the things that he be giving us, sometimes we need them questions.
Sometimes I do it for humor, to add a laugh, so it's not so dry. But then sometimes, it's just being real. But the thing is you don't take the stuff to heart. Let's be real, let's be authentic, and let's look at things from both spectrums, not just for a woman, but also look at it from a man's perspective. And then also we have to learn that we got to stop trying to one up one another. You know what I'm saying? I need to humble myself and listen to Jasmine and let her get her point across and try to understand what she's coming from, listening to understand and not listening to respond. And then that's how I can expect for her to do the same thing to me. And then together we work collectively to try to come up with a consolidated decision that, that benefits us both.
Yes, most definitely. So when we went over there, did our recap this week, y'all. We have a very special guest. It's my girl. She's a veteran. I met her back at Fort Bliss. We was on the bus. And I met her, we've been, tight ever since then. That was 2012 when I was at Bliss, when I first arrived there. So, hey, she's here. She's dynamic. We're going to bring her to the screen. We're going to be talking about self-love today. She just did a self-love challenge. Hey, tune in. If your people not on here, they not tuned in yet, get them on here, because we're going to be talking about how can we get over that past hurt. So we are going to introduce Shan, is what I call her, Chantilly Williams. Let's bring her to the screen, and we're going to show her some love like y'all been showing, authentic ears this whole time. Welcome, girl.
Hi.
Hey, girl.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you all?
Look, we here, we doing just as good. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Be you. I know you, but introduce yourself to the audience, to Cam, to Jasmine. We had a brief time for you to, kind of chat with them, but kind of tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we're gonna go right into it. We're gonna go with the flow. Nothing is, hey, we can't talk about this, can't talk about that, but we do want to learn a lot of self-love, and especially I want you to talk about the challenge that you did, and if you thought it was beneficial, some things that you've seen, some things that we could change. And I'm tuned in because even though I need a little help sometime, honey.
We all do.
Hi. Firstly, I want to say thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be joining you all. Like Kenya said, I'm Chantilly Williams. I am a vet. I did 17 years in 3 days. Yes, those 3 days count. Any vet will know every moment, every minute counts.
Yes.
So I did 17 years in 3 days active combat duty in the Army. And I started out at Fort Jackson and I ended at Shaw Air Force Base. So I reside in Columbia. I was a Chief Warrant Officer in the United States Army, and I was a Signal Warrant Officer, so basically a server technician. I still was doing that when I got out in 2018. So I've been out for a little bit, over 4 years. So I'm still finding myself since I joined when I was 17 years old, like that self-love journey. I grew up into being a woman and who I am. And I didn't get to shape myself. So I'll go into that a little bit more or whatever. But I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a licensed master's cosmetologist. I'm licensed in 3 states. The state where I reside, which is South Carolina, and also the state where I was born, which was North Carolina. I was born at Fort Bragg, and Georgia, which is my home state. So go Bulldogs. So yes, I love beauty, all things beauty, because I'm all about self-love. I'm all about positivity, all about, ascension and us learning and being our true authentic selves. And sometimes it's very hard to love ourselves, especially based on things that we've experienced in life and the things that have shaped us. So other than that, I'll be working on my beauty brand, and I still do some IT things, but not much. But mostly I've just been focusing on myself this year since I didn't take a break. When I first got out of the military, I took a month break. I said I was going to take at least 6 months, but
yes, don't we all?
Yeah, we don't take a break though. So I was so used to working, but I've taken a much needed break, and that has transitioned me into a healing journey this year alone, and definitely a self-love journey.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because you said something like, I just want to let y'all know I've been knowing Shan. So she's been on this, we never know what people are going through. You know what I'm saying? And me and her had like a deep conversation right when I first met her. But just when you see people and you see how they are outside, you know what I'm saying? When you see me, I may be all bubbly, but you just really never know, what we're going through, on the inside. And then especially, I heard you mention, Shan, I'm still trying to find myself. Like I'm building myself, because for a lot of us who joined right out of high school, we only know the military. You know what I'm saying? That's what we know. And when you talk about loving yourself, I don't even know if I even really start realizing what that really was till it was so close to the end of my career, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to get out. So for your journey that, hey, I did this for 17 years. I am getting ready to transition. What was one of the hardest parts that you seen, just that transition and things that you have went through, something that you want to share that you think that would be, you know what I'm saying, beneficial to the audience?
Okay. So firstly, when I first got out, it was a very hard transition. And to realize that the people that were my battle buddies, my supervisors, my superiors, and, my subordinates, that they were no longer caring about Chief Williams anymore. Like I didn't matter. Like once they knew I was getting that DD 214, it was just like, deuces, make sure you give us all your knowledge, in these handbooks and guides and stuff. And that really hit me hard because I was going through a tough time, because I went through a medical board because I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and I got really sick while on active duty. And I found that out when I was in the advanced course of warrant officer school at Fort Gordon, Georgia. So when I went through that, I felt so alone, because I'm just like, who is Chantilly? Like, I didn't even know who I was, because I joined when I was 17 years old. The military is so structured. They tell you what to wear. They tell you where to be, how to be there, everything. So, even when you're off duty, you're not really your own person when you're a soldier.
Yeah.
I mean, because you still have to follow certain guidelines. You still have to, have a certain level of discipline or whatnot. I mean, you can do some things and risk getting in trouble and losing your career, but most people are not going to do that. But I really had to ask myself, like, okay, who am I without the Army? Like, I was terrified to get out. I was like, am I military smart, or am I just like smart for real? Like, am I gonna make it in these streets? You know,
For real.
Yeah, they have it so institutionalized because
right.
I
I had a
understand.
lot of anxiety. Separation anxiety, and I had that diagnosed as a mental health for me, separation anxiety. So figure that, separation anxiety and being a soldier who has deployed and things like that. But to be honest with you, my self-love, I really started looking into that. It got activated through my healing. When I finally said, okay, why am I being triggered by this in my love relationship, or this in my work relationship, or, you know, my family? Why should this thing trigger me, what this person said or didn't do or whatever? And it was because I was looking for love in them when I needed to know that the love I really needed to come from within Chantilly, not from when somebody else, you know, because when you're relying on some love outside of self, then that can fluctuate. That comes with conditions, because most people, they're going to love you as long as you're doing what they want you to do, as long as you're acting like they want you to act. Even us as parents, you know, we teach our kids at an early age, you know, hey, don't do this or do that, and if you do, you're going to get a tap, you know. So we're teaching them, if you step outside the lines, hey, you're not, I love you, but it got conditions on it. So
oh my goodness, that was powerful, especially talking about loving with, you know, conditions and separation anxiety for being. I had my daughter, you know, at 16, so I joined the military, you know, shortly after that. And as we grow as parents and we start learning different stuff, I, I don't know what was wrong with this child, but she was showing the hell out. I ain't know. I was like, what is wrong with her? And then, you know, when you really start, hey, I want to get you some help, and then you start learning about separation anxiety, it was the fact that, hey, you're my mom. I was with you for 2 years, but then you left. You went somewhere else. And then that breaks down for as a mother, it'll break down a lot of in you, because you feel like, am I doing what I'm doing for my kids, or am I doing it for myself? You know, and then we get consolidated into, I got to do this for the Army. I got to do this for this person. I got to do that for that person. I'm staying in this marriage for this person, you know, and we, you know, we forget to love ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, really forget to love ourselves. I know I went through, you know, a while where I thought I was delusional, y'all.
Well, I see Tasha took her brother some time to adjust out the military. Well, I don't know about like you, Shandell, but I retired in 2015. So I've been retired. February will be 8 years for me. And to be exact, I still like have issues. You know, I'm still structured. And, you know, like I said, I live by myself. You know what I'm saying? I'm in here by myself, but I'm still folding shirts 4x6. You know, the Warrant Officer school. I'm still rolling. So I'm like, dude, why am I still rolling these socks? I don't have to roll. Why am I still lining this stuff up? You know, it's just
it's in you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, they did a good job in training you because they wanted you to be how they wanted you to be, just like I was. Matter of fact, I was rolling some socks today.
No, you wasn't, girl. Look, I was. Ball mine up now. I just ball my socks up and just put them away. And I'd be like, forget it. But let me ask you, like, for us, the impact of, you know, just healing. How do you, Joyce? I see your question, and we're most definitely gonna touch on that. What made you want to say, I need to be healed? And was it a relationship? Was it, you know, work? Was it a personal relationship, friendship, you know, work relationship? What made you say, I'm getting triggered by this, I'm getting triggered by that, I need some freaking healing before I drive myself crazy?
Okay, so I don't know if you know, I'm sure you know about my organization, but I have an organization called Silence Daughters. It's a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And I founded that organization because I'm a survivor of domestic violence and I'm a survivor of childhood sexual abuse. So one of the things that I've been dealing with is being silenced. Like it's kind of hard to have your voice when things happen to you as early as 6 years old was the sexual abuse. So that's a very early age to be silenced, you know.
Yeah.
And so throughout my life, I was always silenced, even if it was in domestic violence in my home, I was silenced in that situation. And so this year I quit my job where I was earning 6 figures, but I quit that job because I was getting sexually harassed, and I had been since I've been working there at the Air Force Base. And I had been getting sexually harassed my entire military career. And so at Shaw, when I got out of the Army, I was getting sexually harassed and discriminated against, which I felt because I was an African American female. So I'm not going to get too much into that with the details because there's still things pending with that situation or whatnot. But that propelled me because it was just like, internally, my spirit was like, how are you supposed to advocate to give other women their voice and you're still being silenced? Like, I gave you this vision and you're going out in the community, you're helping other women find their voice, but you're still being silenced. Like the dollar amount should not make you feel like, because I was thinking, okay, I got my 5-year plan. You know, the military, they'll teach you how to plan and suck it up.
Yeah.
You know? So I had my plan, you know, which was like, I'm not going to be on this job more than 5 years. I'm going to stack this paper, you know, get these bands or whatever. Like I dealt with it for 17 years. Like I could do, but I didn't realize what it was doing to my mental health. You know, and it was really becoming like to a point like I was just having a lot of anxiety. I would take PTO days just to not even have to go in there. But then I had to ask myself, like, why are you putting yourself through this? Like, you have a choice now. You're not in the military. Like, you can get out, you know. Within the military, they have the structure where you can file reports and things like that. But when I looked at myself this year, so I quit that job in March or whatever. And so since then, I have been blessed. I haven't missed a meal. I haven't missed a bill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I am grateful for that. And that propelled me to say, okay, so what do I really need to heal? Like, what made me feel okay with being silenced? Like I filed a formal report or whatever in the end, but I put up with it essentially for 4 years before I even filed a report. Like, and so I started doing the self-love challenge, Kenya, this summer. It was a 21-day challenge. And so you were supposed to just do different things and ask yourself different questions. And essentially it led to me basically healing my inner child, so to say, and helping me find my voice and realize, like, one of the questions I asked myself during the challenge, like, do you really love yourself? And I was able to say yes. And I was happy that I was able to say yes, because there's been so many times where I said that because, you know, that's the trend. That's the way. Self-love. It's a journey. This and this and this. You know, we're saying the things, but are we walking the talk? We're talking this talk, but are we walking it? Are we living it? Are we embodying that true self-love? And sometimes, like you were mentioning earlier, Kenya, with mommy guilt, so to say, when you have a career and you have children, you're saying like, dang, am I really making these? Because, you know, they're having that separation from their mother or their father when you're a soldier and you're having to go. Because I did 2 deployments, but thank God I did those deployments before I had my one daughter, Alyssa. She's 12, but I didn't have to deal with that. I don't think I would have been strong enough to leave my daughter for that long or whatnot. But that mommy guilt that you have, sometimes we put our children and our families' needs and what they desire more than what we desire, because that's what we've been taught. And we've been taught that when we choose ourselves, that we're being selfish.
Yeah.
Which in fact, that leaves us depleted, though, because people were constantly pouring into our family and our work and all these people and friends and everything. And then we are left depleted and we get into hustle and bustle. And like, what have you done for self lately? Like, what's the last thing you done that made you happy that was solely based because of Jazz or Cam or Kenya wanted to do that, not because I felt an obligation for this mommy hat I'm wearing, or, you know, this entrepreneur hat or whatever hat you're wearing, because most of us juggle several different identities that we have to work with and deal with.
Cam, you had a question, Cam?
What I wanted to ask her about, could you be a little bit more specific, especially for us and our audience that's watching, in reference to your the 21-day challenge? Could you give us, you know, a little synopsis of what that was like and how it was done? So maybe if some our audience or even us want to try to implement that or try to do it.
Yes. I really got the 21-day challenge because I was like, I want to get my followers and my friends like more active on my social media or whatnot. And because I found that in healing that I was becoming on a self-love journey. So I was feeling like, okay, well, shoot, if this feels this great to me, maybe I can inspire somebody else and they can look and heal and get deeper into their self self-awareness and self-love themselves. And so the challenge just said, like, wear your favorite outfit, smile at someone that you don't know, just different things. Dance to your favorite song, write your 10-year-old self a letter, different things like that. So in doing that thing, it was a great challenge. It was beautiful. It was ugly. It was not so nice. I cried a lot. I was like, where do these tears keep coming from? But it was very cleansing. And I honestly feel like a whole new person. Like I had a rebirth just in time for fall, So
Hey, we have a question right here from Shun. And Jasmine, you were shaking your head, so I want Shan to answer the question. I want you to answer this question as well. Shun said, good point. So it is good to be selfish, you're saying, to a certain point.
Yes, I do think it's good to be selfish to a certain point. When I say selfish, it's like I used to feel this guilt if my family or friends or even anybody, I was a people pleaser. Like that's one of the worst things you can possibly be.
Ooh, and I ain't never been that. My sister and them could attest to that. I'm going in, honey.
I used to people please bad, like worrying about the opinions of others and things like that. But I don't people please anymore. And I think it's okay to be selfish when it comes to, if you don't truly want to do something, if you want to say no, say no. Yeah. If you don't want to go to that invite or whatever, to me, those are the things that are exhibiting self-love, because you're putting your own happiness and well-being. Like if it's always going to be messy at these family socials and gatherings or whatnot, because auntie whatever going to go off or whatever. So you don't want to go to these social events, then choose yourself. Say no sometimes if you're not in a good space to deal with whoever or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
Jasmine, you were shaking your head when she said that earlier about being selfish sometimes. So what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
I agree that you do have to be selfish sometimes. I think people see the word selfish or they say selfish and they just automatically tie it to being a negative word, and it's not all negative when you are taking care of yourself. A lot of times we look for unconditional love in other people, but it has to start with us. In order to get that, you're going to have to be selfish when it comes to certain things. A lot of times we always say, I want somebody to give me unconditional love, unconditional, but you don't even know how to say no.
Yeah.
So you have to set those healthy boundaries, just to even say no. A lot of times people do things knowingly that they feel uncomfortable. They know they don't want to do it.
Let me ask you something. Right. Then I'm gonna jump down to Cam. I purposely did not do the 21-day self-love challenge because I wanted to invite Shan on here. So I didn't want to be ahead of what she was talking about. But Jasmine did participate. What did you think about it? Because I never asked, because I just wanted to this is Authentic Ears. Hi, Tamika. This is Authentic Ears. So I wanted to be very transparent and authentic when I got a chance to talk to Shan, and it was itching me. I wanted to call and get all the juicy stuff because we're all so busy in our lives, developing things, working, being working moms, wives and all that, it was just itching me. I was like, I want to call Shan so bad, but I didn't do it. I didn't want to be ahead. But Jasmine, what did you think about?
I love it.
You did. Look, did it help you find some love?
Yeah, it really did. For me, I've been on my journey. I can say I officially started my journey of self-love and self-worth about 3 years. I've been on it for 3 years, which means I don't believe that the journey ever ends. So when I was taking it, it actually prompted me to do a 30-day fast after that.
Oh, okay.
It's just, asking those questions when you have to really dig deep and face the person in the mirror. It brings some things to the forefront to you. And sometimes we think that we have healed or gotten over certain things. And when those questions when you ask those questions or had those posts, it kind of brought certain things up for me. And I was like, hey, well, maybe I didn't really get over this. Yeah. Maybe I don't feel this way, What is my favorite outfit? I don't look good in this. Those are just questions. Okay, I might have some issues with my body, with my body. So for me, that made me kind of go back and look at that. And I think that's why it's important to have those moments of
Yeah.
taking those challenges and just going and taking a look in the mirror, to just, examine yourself. It's not to just be harsh with yourself, but if you're on a journey, you're going to have to be self-aware as well.
Okay.
And so for me, that brought a lot of attention to myself to be
Okay.
self-aware.
Cam, you had something to say. If you,
Well,
you kind of old, you remember.
Well, I kind of got sidetracked, and I know I may look like I'm gonna go a little left on here, but we authentic in here, so I'm gonna be real with you.
No, go all the way where you need to go.
Women on this podcast right now in the comments that has really taught me to learn a lot, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Those ladies are Tamika McDaniel that just came up, and I'm gonna let y'all know that's my ex-girlfriend for once. And also, it's another girl on there named Star Kellogg, and I'm gonna tell y'all how these two females have really brought me like to reality.
Yeah.
Well, me and Tamika, of course, she's my ex-girlfriend.
Hold on, Cam. Did you ask Tamika? Could you tell this story?
No, I'm not gonna put any. I'm not gonna say anything negative. It's all accountability on me.
Because we gonna get on Tamika's side.
Well, it's all good.
It's all good. But conquest. No, go ahead.
It's just that I was so set in my ways as a man. I just like my whole life was just tunnel vision. And then it's just like, I didn't learn how the actions of a person that you're doing. Well, I had to learn to consider others' feelings, especially when they're trying to give you their all. So, and I know this is a little bit detracting, but I just wanted to say this because it's just, we're authentic on here and I just want to be real about it.
I don't think it's taken away, because if you don't love yourself and you don't have no self-love, you can't even love that person or your mate.
And that's what I'm trying to get at is that in reference to this, I don't think I had the level of love for myself to even know how to show that love to another individual. I was so set in my ways and not being open-minded but when you really look at it, when you're dealing with a woman, they're only going to be able to give you so much before they realize, like, dude, you just not getting it. I done showed you 100 times. So then I'm thinking in my mind, because I'm thinking like, man, I'm paying I'm paying the bills. I'm trying to maintain the household, but I had to learn, dude, that's nothing. It's more than that. And then, so I'm thinking like, man, I've done everything that I could be the best person I can. And then you're just going to dip. And I ain't gonna lie, I was in my feelings. And this stuff bothered me for about a year. So now I meet my friend Star Kellogg. She's on here. And we had a big discussion. And she's rubbed me the wrong way in some ways that if I was actually around her and I had a pass for some domestic violence, I probably would have touched her because she hit a spark when she was telling the truth. And at me, she humbled me because she told me things that I was doing wrong. And that let me know that I kind of like had a lot of issues with just like loving myself. And I had to learn how to invest in Cam and be the best form of Cam. Then you can go out and be the best version for somebody else. But the problem that I had is I'm learning this stuff too late. But then again,
why do you say it was too late?
Because the thing about it is, it's like, well, I don't necessarily say it was too late. It's just that you just sometimes you wish you could just replay, because I'm big on accountability. If I make a mistake, I want to own it, and that's why I just kind of wanted to say this publicly. I wish like her nothing but the best, because she was like outstanding to me. But I done so many jacked up things that eventually she had to tap out. And I get it. And I know that was a little bit throwing off, but I think as a man, y'all women say we don't have accountability. So I did this on this podcast today because I saw her on there to let y'all know men are accountable for their actions when they mess up.
Do you think men, while you're being accountable for stuff, how do you think self-love is for a man's journey? Because, when you see these, hold on, Shan, how many men do you know participate in your self-love challenge?
None that I know of.
See,
But I
we gotta
think people
change.
participate maybe like Jazz did, and I didn't know they participate
Uh-huh.
because a lot of people, especially on social media, they'll take the tidbits, they'll take whatever, but they won't,
They
public
won't give you no shout out.
acknowledge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They want to acknowledge that you brought them there. So I guess a lot you got closet lookers that's looking from
Lurkers.
far away.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Bookers and lookers, that's what they do. But I think, in my opinion, and men that I have, do y'all think that it's weakness when you do take the time out to say, oh shoot, this girl Shan posted something, let me participate in this
That's the
challenge?
way society has. It's the way, like, that's why you got to have that self-love yourself, or you're not worried about fitting what society has. Because a lot of times we get caught up where a lot of times, man, first of all, we think nobody care. So why even say anything? And also, we don't want to appear weak because, and I ain't saying all women, but a lot of times when you coming up to a woman and we don't want to be vulnerable and say, this is how I'm really feeling, because not some, just some, but all y'all are, some will turn it on and, man, this weak, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of dudes don't want to, they would rather just wear that burden and just deal with that hurt than appear weak and appear vulnerable. But we as men, we also got to realize that we have feelings too, because if we don't learn to love ourselves, we can't be that best version for y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. I want to go back to, so we had a couple of episodes, Shan. I don't know if you got a chance to look at them or not, but we talked about cheating and blurred lines. You mentioned childhood sexual trauma abuse a lot for women. And I guess I don't do the Me Too movement. I'm just, I just kind of, everybody is different. But when you have had any type of sexual trauma as a child, it affects women. And I'm speaking from experience. When we go into relationships, we don't love ourselves. We consider, if I had childhood sexual trauma, and I'm just going to talk on my side, and I meet this guy and he's showing me all of this, then I'm covering up whatever trauma that I had, and not knowing that he's a narcissist, he's verbally abusive, he's mentally abusive. But as long as he's a good guy. I hear women say it all the time. He don't beat me and he don't touch my kids. Because when you had any kind of trauma, your main concern is you don't want nobody around. Go to looking at my kids funny. I'm going to the nearest Department of Correction, whatever state I'm in. You know what I'm saying? Well, there's Arkansas, Texas Department of Correction, because your mind automatically go back. But then sometimes that can also hinder healthy relationships, because if you were abused by a certain type of person, if a man approaches you and he reminds you of that person, you're not talking to him. You're not going to talk to them. You're going to automatically shut down. Or if they do something that reminds you of that person, you're going to automatically shut down. So, Shan, as far as any type of childhood sexual trauma, and I don't know where I read this at, they said studies show that some women who are abused as children, when they go on in life, they're sexually harassed, you know what I'm saying, or they're assaulted again. Or how do you feel about that? Do you think it's because that aura is just staying on us, and it's an unwelcoming because we're silent and we're allowing it to happen? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that I don't think there's like a scarlet letter we're wearing, survivors of sexual abuse. But I do think that the unhealed part of us and that lack of ability to set boundaries and have healthy sexual relationships because we haven't healed the trauma can cause issues in intimate relationships and relationships overall. But I do feel that that does happen more often than not. And I say that from personal experience because I have experienced trauma from an early childhood age on through adulthood.
Okay. Natasha she made a comment, looking through the lens of your trauma impacts how you lead your life. I think most definitely, for me, I'm more, we hear all the studies that they say, but everybody is different. I'm more of a hard shell, you know, not promiscuous, anything like that. But it's really hard to break the ice. You know what I'm saying on me, like, and I automatically assume that you're the enemy until I actually start loving myself. I had to know when someone is being genuine, when I need to set boundaries, when I need to cut people off, and things like that, because it's that heart in that doesn't allow you to love. And I can't love because shoot, hell, I don't even know how to love myself. Half the, you know, I'm over here trying to figure out, do I love myself? Do I like myself? And like Jasmine said, you know, just sometimes looking in the mirror, I want my hair like this, or I need to lose weight, or I need to gain weight, because that's what society is saying you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to look, especially on social media now. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's like blinders. You cannot be, can you really be yourself? Let me ask y'all this. And I'm gonna ask Jasmine, can you really be yourself, especially young girls, with everything that social media is portraying? And I'm asking for your opinion.
No. I was just talking with someone about that. How every time you look up on social media, everyone's doing the exact same thing. Whether it's a day in the life with me, follow me here, look what I found. So everybody is literally like dressing the same, wearing their hair the same. We even starting to talk the same. You know, it's just it's a trend to be like everybody else right
Yeah.
now. So how can you even be yourself when all of this is going on? I think that that's the importance of self-love, knowing your worth, so that you
Mhm.
will be able to walk your own walk. A lot of people can't walk that. And just to go back on the childhood trauma, I did look up the statistics, because I've met a couple guys who have opened up and shared with me that they have been you know, endured some childhood trauma at a young age. And a lot of people, I don't want to say we forget about men, but sometimes we do.
Yeah.
When it comes to things like that, a lot of young men have been sexually abused. And these are the men that are growing up, and we're expecting them to lead households, to be these men that we quote unquote think what a man is supposed to be. So, you know, that everybody has to take this look in this journey. And we also have to have accountability. We need
Mhm.
people around us that's
Yeah.
gonna keep us in check when it comes to accountability as well. You know, so I don't think everybody right now is just being their true authentic self all the time, because it's so easy to fall into this loop.
Okay.
I'm just speaking from my personal experience, because
Cam,
I've
what do
been
you think about, Jem? I don't mean to cut you off. What do you think about how men are looking at social media, and then also, you know, kind of comment on what Jasmine just said about we forget about men, because there are men that go through trauma, whether it's sexual trauma, abuse, whether it's their mom is bringing guys in and out, and a lot of times we think just because I ain't get touched, you still probably had some kind of trauma going on, and we do forget about it because it is kind of focused around, you know, women. So what do you think about that, Cam?
Well, first of all, I think, like you said, I think it's a big thing that a lot of men think really nobody cares. You
Mhm.
know, because we're supposed to be leaders of the household, leaders of families and things of that nature. So, especially in our older days, you were kind of focused on and told to shut up and color, suck it up, drive on, like we were told in the army, things of that nature.
Yeah.
Nobody, so a lot of times, man, you would not believe, the conversations that some of us men have amongst one another about how we're really feeling, and how, man, it's just really just hard to express, because a lot of times you don't know if, man, do I become vulnerable and let them know how I really feel? But do I want to risk potentially being called weak? And some people would just suck it up and sacrifice. Some men will just sacrifice their happiness and their opportunities to become a better man because they don't want to chance that vulnerability. if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, Kim, you said about becoming a better man, but I think we let society, like Jasmine was talking about social media, it's just like carbon copies everywhere. But I think that matters with self-love, where you can't let the roles that are defined by society of what a man should be. I would just want to know who silenced you where you couldn't say how you really feel, where you couldn't exercise your voice.
Well, it was just I would kind of say upbringing. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to realize. Look at the kids now. Back up to when we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these were what they call in the Army. These were one-way conversations. You know, you're not loud. It's what I say. What I say goes. I'm gonna get popped in your mouth. And if you don't try to change that, somebody has to come in and be like, you know what? That's the way we were taught. That was very errors. But it's kind of like, I don't want to say generational curse.
It is. That's what I was just thinking, Pam. I was
You know,
that's what it means to break the generational curses, to come in and say, just because grandma and grandpa them did it that way doesn't mean that's the legit way, that we need to still be doing that today. Like clearly some of those things did not work, or else the family would have generational health and wealth that had been passed down from Mima and them, who was doing things the same way and not speaking up, saying, hey, this isn't right. This isn't serving us.
Yeah.
So I think to go off what you said, we should have those conversations, and like you said, not care about society, because we're caring about people that don't know you, don't care about you, not paying none of your bills, and what they say when it comes to problems, 80% of the people don't 80% of the people don't care, and the other 20% glad you got them. You know what I'm saying?
Really bold and driven. I think George Jackson, he said, ego. You know what I'm saying? Like, so do you think, you know, who had that song?
I got a big ego.
Yeah, that song, yeah.
Beyonce?
That's my girl.
Yeah, that's my little brother. He's saying a lot about it. Is saying a lot about ego, big bro. And
so you think men have such a big ego, or
I would say it's ego and pride.
Do we put so much on them? And this is kind of what Natasha is saying, that we don't allow them to be vulnerable. Are we so aggressive as women when we meet these men that we don't allow them you know, to be vulnerable or whatever? And I think when you know better, you do better. You know, a lot of things that I probably would have done when I was 19, 20, 21 and married, I wouldn't do that now. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't do that now. I wouldn't say a lot of things now. I wouldn't act a certain way now, because I think it does strip people of, or men, I'm not going to say people, it strips men of who they should be. And I think for me, I'm so upfront that it could be intimidating sometimes. So I had to learn how to scale back a little bit when I do deliver certain things. But a lot of times I don't think that men are receptive from women who are supposed to be their helpmates, because they don't want to look weak. You know what I'm saying? They want to look like, I got it together, I got this. But if you're better at something than I am, then let that be. If I'm better at something than you are, then let that be. But when we start to really love ourselves, and I think my journey for self-love really came, I was in some shenanigans.
Entanglements.
Girl, man, it was a hot mess express. A lot of people don't even know about this shenanigan that I was in. But I was too busy trying to motivate this person, because they had a lot of potential. But it just really broke my spirit. I don't even know.
But what y'all say about that potential, though, Ken?
Potential don't pay no bills. Potential do not pay no bills. But I had to look at, because he was I can't even say you was a decent guy if you got bad character. You know what I'm saying? If your character is bad, you can't even be decent. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But he had Yeah, I'm gonna justify here.
They're gonna jump that. She
No, why you gotta justify it?
Hey, look, these
Obviously, we
blur.
already established he's
Hey, look.
trash. What's
Hey,
going
look.
on?
Here go these blurred lines.
Yeah,
Here
that's
they
what I
come.
was just gonna say. These blurred lines
You are not Robin Thicke.
that you dancing with, the blurred lines.
Look, he had potential, y'all. But for real, when I really started loving myself, I said, look, Kenya, something wrong with you. Like, you really got a problem. Y'all, this was in 2020. I was like, you really got a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? And that's because I was yearning for love. If I wasn't even getting the right love that I wanted, right? You know what I'm saying? I wasn't even getting that kind of love.
So
I was getting some other dysfunctional love that was going on, but I thought it was love. You know why? Because I ain't love myself. You know what I'm saying? At least
it's so imperative to start. It's so imperative to start. I want to inject and say one thing. When I was talking about my comment and talking to Star, because we have a really, really joking relationship, I made a comment that said I almost wanted to get a domestic violence. That was insensitive, and I don't feel that I should have said that comment, especially on this podcast. So I want to apologize for that. It was really just a joke, but sometimes we still have to be cognizant of our words that we use. Definitely. So I want to come back and say that because it was a joke how me and her play, because she knows she gets under my skin when she checked me. You know how when they say a hit dog, a holler, and she had me screaming and I'm calling me out on some of my boo. But she's a good friend and I appreciate it.
We be hollering all the time when we get here because I shows y'all. I don't even want. We're gonna have to have a whole podcast about my shenanigans that I was in. It's gonna be called The Shenanigans in the Life of LaKenya, because I was over there in hell. My friend Emma, I probably got on her damn nerves because I was calling her every day, like in the morning. I think she put me on mute a couple of times and walked off and was doing some shit. Because y'all know when you talk so much and you need a drink of water, this is what the hell was going on with me. But I have another question for you. As far as dealing with, because you're married now, you know. Hi, Ajania, Nuki. As far as dealing with domestic violence in a previous relationship, how did you go into your new relationship with I'm not gonna think that this guy is just like my last guy. I'm not gonna put up these walls. I'm not gonna do this.
Oh, that had been tough.
I would say I went in prematurely because I've been married this year for 6 years.
Congratulations.
Thanks, I think. No, seriously. So we've been married for 6 years and we've been together for 8 years. This winter in December will be 8 years. But I prematurely got into that relationship because I had bags, like Erica Badu was saying, bag lady. But it wasn't just bags from the previous, domestic violence relationship from that marriage. It was other relationships that I had baggage with as well that I didn't realize that I was bringing and carrying along with me, into the new relationships. But I didn't feel like my current husband would put his hands on me or anything. I think I became aggressive, like be ready for some stuff to pop off, just from that experience before. So I didn't like to get yelled at, like raising your voice and just having a quick temper about anything. Like I'm not really a confrontational person. So when it gets like disagreements and it get loud and stuff, I don't like that very much. So it did affect my relationship because I could have took some more time, especially when you experience domestic violence and you still have to interact with the person if you have a child with them, and you still have to interact with them after the relationship is ended, intimate wise.
Yeah, I want to share something.
Because that's when you met me, Kenya.
Yeah, I want to share something if you don't mind, Shan.
Go ahead.
I met Shan and we had just got to Fort Bliss. I'm telling you, we was on the bus. It was real hot. It was a whole bunch of shenanigans going on. Y'all know that's my favorite word. But we had started talking, and then like a couple of weeks later, a month later, I was like, hey, how are you and your husband doing? She was like, we ain't married no more. I'm leaving him. He was abusive. But I want to say that how women how they push through. Y'all, I had been around her. Didn't know anything. And that's where she talked about, just being silent. Like, if you would have told me, I would have been ready to fight you. We would have been in jail down there on Fort Bliss. Ask my sister and them. I'm ready to throw hands. I would have been so hot about it. But it's that
We
strongness.
actually met at reception,
Yeah,
right?
we met at
So we were
reception.
both just newly
We
arriving
were
to a place.
just
So
new,
imagine coming somewhere new and not
don't know
knowing anybody
nobody,
and being abused by your
and being
husband, and you have a 2-year-old child.
what do you do? What do you do? But I'm telling you, this girl right here, I wouldn't have never knew if she hadn't have opened up and shared it, because she still was there, still doing what she needed to do. And then as when we bottle a lot of those things up, you know what I'm saying? It can take a toll on us later on. And then being in the military, and I'm gonna speak strictly for the military, a chief warrant officer, she is a technician in her field. She's the best of the best. Can't nobody tell her anything. It's pretty much for leaders, like we were in those leadership positions. We can't go up there to our chain of command, Thompson. We getting beat on. They
Right.
still expect you to go and do your dang
I
on
did
job.
not get the support that I needed as a service member during that time. Like the family advocacy, they have those different programs and things like that, but I did not get, like, they were worried about the mission, because I went to a unit where I was supposed to be doing all this innovative stuff and coming up with new technologies and whatnot.
Yeah.
And they were just like, how long you need to get yourself together? I'm like,
Years.
it's gonna be a
Yeah.
minute,
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that exactly. But I do want to give, commend, you ladies on here and ladies in the comments or whatever. Y'all do always persevere. Men, we have our own challenges, but I do want to say y'all bear a lot of the blunt of the things that go on. And, y'all truly make the world go around. And I want to commend all the women out there that continue to strive and grind, because I give it to y'all. Y'all don't have the option. Y'all have to make it happen, especially when there's kids involved, because you know how they say, used to say back in the South, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. You know what I'm saying? So, and
certified.
so I do want to, commend you to all the, the Black women out there, the single mothers, we acknowledge, I know it's a lot of bad men out there, but for the ones that are trying to do it right, we acknowledge y'all struggle. And we are really, especially the men that are in my circle, we are really trying diligently to make sure that we're more accountable as men, doing the right thing, and being those men that y'all can let down those walls and be vulnerable for, and trust in us to be those leaders that God made us to be. So I just do want to, give y'all props.
Okay. Yes. Do you have anything to say? You've been kind of quiet. I know self-love is like your look, you said that you was like, look, I'm gonna be, this is my thing, and just really learning.
I just want to take it all in. I'm very appreciative of you being able to come here and just share your story with us. I know it's more different layers to it and some more stuff, but just to even give us that, without even knowing us like that's brave. That's a journey that I want to start being on as well. So I commend that wholeheartedly. I'm all for self-love, self-worth, and accountability. And I'm just, I'm glad that you came. And shout out to Cam, because Cam has become my big brother, y'all. Because Cam is like the TLC, the cool, sexy, relaxed guy here. But Cam, he just kind of shows me that men can have accountability. I've met decent men, and some men I'm just, we don't even want to put them on the platform because they don't deserve it. But it is good to be around or engage with a man who can say, you know what, I apologize. I didn't mean for it to go that way. I know Cam is a jokester, so I just appreciate you for just displaying who you are. It wasn't an act. You just being able to display, hey, I know sometimes I say things and I take accountability for that. So for me, that just really strikes me, because I just love to be in the presence of people who can take accountability, because when you can take accountability, you're able to receive things too. So for me, I'm just, I took it in tonight, y'all. I didn't have much time. Normally I run my mouth.
It seemed like the hour wasn't long enough.
I know.
It's never long enough when you talk about self-love and the journey that we're going on. And Shan, thank you.
Man, we have loved you, Shan. You're amazing.
To have you back as a guest. You know what I'm saying? On other episodes. Most Shan's information will be up under the on YouTube, so you'll be able to follow follow her. Make sure you subscribe to Bold and Driven. Next week, you guys, y'all gotta tune in. Y'all gotta tune in. We real, raw, and relevant. So I want y'all to make sure y'all pay attention to that, because we real, we're gonna get raw sometime. And we're also gonna talk about relevant topics. You know what I'm saying? Things that actually impact us, especially in the Black community, because we have to we got to come together. You know what I'm saying? At some point, we got to come together. We can't just be going around talking some, this is how I am, this is how I'm raised, I'm doing this is how it is. If we see someone that's doing something and that's the path that we need to go on, let's start supporting those people. If you did Shan Challenge, go on there and like, share, do
Water. Make sure you put your stuff out there, Shan, before we leave. Put it all out there. So
it's gonna be out there for us all. So make sure y'all are doing that. And if you got a podcast and you need to change platforms, if you looking at starting a podcast, I ain't gonna even cut my eye down to the left. You know what I'm saying? At this girl, I ain't gonna even cut my eye. Hit up Bold and Driven. You know what I'm saying? Your journey is starting. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times we let things that happen to us in our past hold us back. And as we go on that journey, we're gonna always evolve. We're always gonna do something different. We're always gonna, show ourselves that we are better than what people said that we were, what society said that we were. And especially as being, I'm almost there with y'all, Shan and Cam. 31 October, I'm gonna have a real DD-214.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But you just really being in the military, and we most definitely, when we talk about veterans, Shan, we most definitely want to have you back here to talk about the challenges and the struggles and stuff that we have, and as reintegrating in society. Next week, y'all make sure y'all tune in, because Cam gonna be on here. We're gonna talk some man talk. He got a guest coming. We're gonna give the men a little time to let us know what it is, because there are some good men out here. Y'all know I've been on this all men ain't trip. You know what I'm saying? I've been on that for about a year now. But I'm learning. You know what I'm saying? Talking to Cam, he be putting me in my place, sending me stuff all times of night. That's why I woke his butt up. But as always, it's Authentic Ears. I'm glad y'all tuned in. Shan, thank you. Her stuff will be in the bio and the link below. If you need a podcast and you're trying to start a podcast, you know what? Tune in to Bold and Driven. Make sure you're subscribing. I love you guys.
Let's go.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.
Real raw, relevant, that's just it, yeah. I've been by that day since I was legit. Real raw, relevant, that's just it, yeah. I've been by that day since I was legit. Real raw, relevant, that's just it, yeah. I've been by that day since I was legit. Real raw, relevant, that's just it, yeah. I've been by that day since I was legit. Represent, that's the get. Ask your mom about it. Coldest story ever told. When the storm hit my home, I was out there on the road. I ain't